Okay, so let's go ahead and chat a little bit about quitting streaming. And not me personally, necessarily. I will talk about some of the thoughts that I've had in terms of potentially quitting, but not because I'm going to, okay? But I have seen a not small number of creators quitting, both large and small, okay? And there's something to be said about that because there was a huge influx of content creators at the beginning of the pandemic. Like late 2019, early 2020, a whole bunch of people got sent home and said you have to stay at home. So a whole bunch of people started content creation. And the number of streamers like per day on Twitch was like 8 million or something like that. Like different streams that were happening per day. It was an insanely high number. And in the years since, that number has been going down and down and down. And in 2023, and not while the pandemic has not ended, as much as some people would like to claim or say that it has or believe that it has, a lot of the precautions around it have dropped off. And so a lot of people are not locked inside as much anymore. And so a lot of people have quit. But there's also just been a increase in larger streamers quitting, because somebody that just gets into it doesn't go the way that they think, or they don't get what they want out of it, and then they quit after a couple of months is one thing. But it's another one when you see people that have successful content creation careers quitting. It was one of the only ways to socialize and still be safely socially distanced. That's a good point, and it worked out great, and I think it saved a lot of people in a lot of ways. And I'm glad that I can't imagine going through a pandemic in like 1920 or 1820 when we had the other pandemics of past years, because we didn't have the internet. I mean, so, you know, God, I can't imagine just having to be locked at home. And in like 1920, you had the radio, and in 1820, you had the paper. That would be the best information you got, was the paper. Woo! Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not surprised that there was this huge influx of online creators. Books, well, that wouldn't be good for socializing or for information. One of the nice things, and like about the pandemic, was that there was just such a, well, not a nice thing about the pandemic, but a nice thing about having to go through the pandemic in 2020 instead of 1920s, we just had a constant stream of information. But it also meant that a lot of people were able to jump into content creation themselves. And I saw a whole bunch of people start, and I've seen a lot of people take really, really long breaks, and I've seen some people just quit entirely. And there's been large creators that have quit. And that's an interesting thing to see. Now, unfortunately, I would say an unbalanced ratio of the larger creators that have quit have been feminine identifying in one way or another. And most of the time, a good number of them are quitting for harassment reasons, because, god damn it, people, can you suck less? Like, geez, stop harassing people, you disgusting tools. Like, if you see, by the way, if you see somebody online, they talk to you, them acknowledging your existence does not mean that you get a pass to be a horrible person to them. Just as a heads up on that, it's not how it works. They don't get a pass to be a horrible person to you either. But you also need to take a look and address of who's actually crossing which boundaries, because there's a lot of people that drastically cross their boundaries in parasocial relationships that are formed through the means of the internet and social media, whether that's because of Twitch or Twitter or Instagram or OnlyFans or whatever it is. But I'm a mod. Does that mean you're in love with me? Absolutely. Definitely. Anyway. So, but one of the things that to people that are quitting or that might be considering quitting is one of the questions that I want to ask to you and to myself, and there's a lot of content creators in chat. Thank you so much for the 20 months, Gorthan. I appreciate that a lot. To the people that have been quitting, one, I would like you to ask yourself a question of like, why did you start content creation? I know some people started it during the pandemic because they were lonely. Some people needed a outlet. Some people needed a social connection of one part. And, you know, with all of that, it's like, well, why did you start content creation? And does the answer of why you started help answer why you're quitting? Because, like, I started content creation because I just felt a need to create things. I always have. I've always written stories since I was extremely young. I remember one of the first, I wrote like 60 pages of a book that I wanted to write back in middle school. That notebook unfortunately fell into a puddle of water and got ruined, but I started way back when. And ever since then, I've always done a lot of things, whether it's writing or trying to get into physical art mediums or digital art mediums or podcasts, YouTube videos, streaming. I tried to do some YouTube stuff back in high school, and that was a number of years ago. So for me, it's just something that, like, I've just always been drawn to doing. Whether it's because I have a need for attention and validation or just because I need an outlet of some sort, who knows? But it's definitely something that I've always just really been drawn to. And after you started, what did you want to see from it? Because I feel like that's something that changes for everybody. There's definitely some people that do content creation as just a hobby. Like, it's just something fun to do. You know, if they stream every day to the same 6 people and those people are hanging out and they're just having a conversation with their close circle, that's enough for them. And some people were wanting to be the next Markiplier or PewDiePie or XQC or iShowSpeed or whoever it is, depending on what generation you are. And, I mean, I understand why you'd want to be those individuals, because at least from a monetary perspective, but there's like 100 of them in the world out of 8 billion people. As much as I would love to get to their size and growth, that is an unrealistic expectation to ever achieve. And also I find a lot of things with content creation is largely a question of what are you putting in versus what are you getting out. And some people had expectations that they might be able to support themselves financially, or they needed to support themselves financially through monetary, you know, thank you for your subscription, such as the one that Gorthan just dropped on us, or the ones that were dropped at the beginning of the stream. I appreciate it a lot. I thankfully am not in a position where I rely on monetization from content creation to pay my bills, but it is very nice to know that I am making content that is good enough that people want to support me in any way, whether it's by passing me Bezos bucks or with their actual own money. I do genuinely appreciate it a lot. And I will say that I'm not where I want to be or where I hoped I would be by this point. But we've also been kind of like just experimenting a lot. There are courses that I could have taken that would have led to better growth than I have seen. But a lot of it involves stuff that is not necessarily what I want to be doing. You can see one of the most consistent ways to get a lot of growth is by just really heavily focusing on one thing, whether it's one game or one aspect or whatever, and I can't do that. Who's quitting streaming? Not me. And it's kind of just a general topic, although it's really good to see you, Maddie. I hope that you're doing well. But we're talking about quitting and people that have quit, and there's been a few people in the last, like, I'd say week that I've seen that I follow on Twitter that are pretty sizable content creators, that are successful content creators, that are like, nope, I'm done. I'm gonna go do anything else. Namon says, I think streamer, in a derogatory sense, streamer culture has put a bad taste in my mouth, and it makes it harder to watch, to hop on Twitch and be associated with it. Doesn't help that you do have a 9-to-5 job and a family and kid that does a lot of stuff. I mean, I have a very busy life, and so, like, content creation is something that is, it's not just a fun little side thing for me, because there are things that I want out of it. Don't scare me like that. It was bait, Maddie. It was 100% bait, and I'm glad that it worked. Have a good night, Gorthan. Thank you so much, friend. I appreciate you a lot. Sleep well. But, you know, with one of the things, if you're a content creator and you're not quitting right now, is that one of the things also to keep in mind is that when someone else quits, those people have viewers that are going somewhere. Now, like Napalm just mentioned that he avoids Twitch a lot more than they used to because of just the exhaustion of streamer culture. But some people, like, Twitch is their television. You know, they don't pop open Dish Network or DirecTV and scroll through the channels. they scroll through Twitch, and if their favorite quits, they have to go find a new favorite. And I've been there. I've had my favorites quit, or I've had my favorites show a side of themselves that I no longer liked or wanted to support. That one I think sucks even more. Like kind of the concept of like, don't meet your heroes. Sometimes you see a side of some of your content creators that you're like, oh, you're a piece of shit. Fuck. Damn, I don't want to watch you anymore. I really liked your content, but you suck. Bummer. And I've dropped content creators for multiple of those reasons. Twitch is my radio most of the time. Yeah, exactly. Athena, that's you. I like Twitch way more than TV. So whether it's background noise, I know we have the artist that does our emotes is currently listening while they're doing chores around the house, and I appreciate you very much. Thank you so much. Your artwork is incredible, and I'll be commissioning more of your artwork soon. But yeah, like if it just means that, you know, by whatever means, you know, that's a huge part of culture in the internet now, whether it's, you know, YouTube videos or Twitch or whatever it may be. And so when people quit, those viewers go somewhere. And I've seen people that have CCVs of anywhere between 50 to 150, 500, 750, 1,000. The person that I saw announce quit this morning had a CCV of like 2,100 pretty regularly and had a massive TikTok following and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, well, that's a whole lot of people that won't be able to watch that creator anymore. And so with that, it's like, well, those people have to go somewhere, and who knows, they might go in your direction. In my case, they will not go my direction, but and there's reasons for that. I don't want to talk about the creator that quit too much, both for the sake of their own privacy and because it's not relevant to this conversation. There was recent releases that scoured a lot of streamers I thought I liked for me and shaved down my follow list. I also unfollowed a surprising number of people because of Hogwarts Legacy, and I am not ashamed to say that outwardly and directly. The smallest ask from people that I care about was, hey, please don't play the fucking turf game. And I was like, you got it. And I didn't bring it up to the creators that I saw playing it. I wasn't like, how dare you or anything like that. I was just like, I know that there is no way that you don't know. Because I know people personally that are not plugged into the internet. And so they don't know about a whole lot of things. There was somebody that literally I was talking to them about the turf game, and they're like, what are you talking about? And I was like, J.K. Rowling, shitty individual. And they're like, really? She's a piece of shit? Why? And I was like, where the fuck have you been for the last like 6 years? And they're like, dude, I do not look at the internet at all. And I'm like, I know, but I figured that would have permeated to you anyway, because it was such a wildly discussed topic. But they don't really have that many LGBT friends. They definitely don't have anybody that is trans that is in their immediate circle. Not because they have any pushback against those individuals, but regardless. And so I explained to them, they're like, man, that fucking sucks. I loved Harry Potter. And I was like, yeah, I know. Well, welcome to the conundrum that we all went through 6 years ago. And they're like, man, all right, I won't fucking play it. And I was like, cool, thanks for not playing it. But there's some people, especially content creators, people on Twitch. I'm like, I know you're active on Twitter. I know that you have people that are close to you that are LGBT, that are actually trans, and you are still choosing to play this game. I didn't call them out on it, but I just quietly unfollowed them. So, our stream is a safe space. Now watch me play Harry Potter. Yeah. So I just quietly unfollowed them. But you know what? That makes it easier for me to choose people that I do want to watch. And in that same way, like I said, if one of your favorite creators lets you down and you don't want to watch them anymore, you're going to go watch somebody else. And that's why, like, I'm not saying that you'll eventually find success if you just keep pushing forward, because there is not guaranteed success in this space, okay? There are content creators that are more talented than some of the people at the very top of the mountain that have been doing it for 10 years that do not make it. There's also people that have gotten a huge bump. I know because of some recent controversies over the last couple of years, I've seen some content creators that they got a whole bunch of support behind them, and they went from like 21 CCV to like 210 CCV. But shortly later, I say shortly, I checked on them like a year after like the huge increase in bump and controversy and stuff, and they went from the 200 and some that they were at back down to around like 40, you know, so they weren't able to retain that viewership. And does that mean that they're a bad creator? Probably not, but it just meant that, you know, a lot of people that found them due to the controversy online, it just wasn't quite their business. So speaking of mask off streamers, let's talk about Napalm. Yeah, this fucking guy. He's all right. We like Napalm. Thanks for not being a piece of shit, Napalm. So, like, my own personal journey when it comes to content creation, I mentioned it a little bit. I started out with writing. I still really love writing, and I want to get to do it more. My first more recent venture in the series leading to today was podcasting into YouTube, into Twitch and YouTube, and I haven't quite touched base on short form content like TikTok or YouTube Shorts yet. I know I should. Everyone's like, you got to get on that TikTok and Shorts gang. That's where the numbers are. And I'm like, I believe you. But Napalm mentioned earlier, I work a 9-to-5 job with a wife and kid, which means that time is limited. Although, when it comes to content creation, I do love this a lot. I love streaming. I love making YouTube videos. I love interacting with people online. I respond to 99% of my YouTube comments. Because I'm able to right now. Like, if I ever got to the size where I wasn't able to respond to all the comments anymore, then that would just be that. But thankfully, right now, I am able to answer every single comment. And I do, because I love interacting with people. It's one of the things that I say in a lot of my videos and stuff. I like to talk, and I'd love to talk some more. And that's what we're doing right now, is we're talking, because I wanted to talk. I enjoy talking. I wanted to talk about this, because I've seen a lot of people get very heavily discouraged recently. And I found my own moments of discouragement throughout this, because it's like, man, I wish I was doing better. I wish I had more numbers. I wish I was finding greater success at reaching a larger number of people and having, you know, a wider, you know, net that I was casting my content out. But mostly because I want to out of selfishness, I want that engagement out of it. I would love one day to be able to support myself financially out of content creation, but the money is not the thing that I am chasing. It is the fulfillment and satisfaction that I get out of content that I make doing well. And so when it feels like I've hit a plateau or a low point or whatever, like, yeah, it's taxing on me mentally. And that's one of the things that I've seen a lot of other creators cite as the reason for them quitting, is that there is a significant mental tax on content creation, especially if it is something that you care about on a level beyond sheer enjoyment. Because, as I mentioned, there are people that just do it for fun, hang out with, you know, the same 3 to 5 people, and that's enough for them. And if it is, I'm so happy for you. It is not enough for me. I want to see growth. I want to see fulfillment, accomplishment, and satisfaction out of it. And so if you don't see that, you get in your own head about it. You're like, man, is it me? Am I doing something wrong? And the answer is like, fucking maybe. You know, the other thing is that the internet is bigger than it's ever been, okay? By far and away. There are creators that are on top of the game right now that'll tell you, like, look, man, I started 14 years ago when YouTube was still, oh, well, when did YouTube get bought by Google? Doesn't matter. YouTube was created in 2006. And they're like, I started 19 years ago at the infancy of YouTube. And they're like, and I just kept going. And because I was there, I was one of the only few people that people could watch. And so people watched me, and then they just kept watching me, and then I made it to where I am now. I don't believe I'd make it to where I am now if I started today, even if I put 14 years into it. And I think it's good that they recognize that, because, you know, they're like, I don't make as good a content as some people that have lower numbers than me. And I've seen people that did start back then, had success back then, that do not have it now, and it frustrates them. People that were there before YouTube was purchased by Google, or back before Twitch was Twitch and was called Justin TV, and they found a lot of success because of that opportunity of being one of the people that can be discovered on a new platform. But it wasn't just a new platform, it was also an entire new space. Because we've seen new platforms, Mixer, Kick, and Hover, and they just did not do well. Mixer shut down. Hover's dead. They claim they're not. Hover is dead as hell. Beam, there's another one. Thank you, Eve. But the thing is that YouTube was one of the first places that was doing like free to access, wildly available video content. It was basically first. I'm not sure if like Daily Motion or Vimeo, I'm not sure when those came around, but they were definitely one of the first. Kind of like if you were there in the early days of not Congregate, because Congregate was mostly a video game place. Where was the place? There was a Newgrounds. They're like Newgrounds Animation. That's where like Ego Raptor and stuff started at, and they did extremely well. Would they do extremely as well today? Who knows? Maybe not. More or less what I also kind of felt was on the front page of Twitch for some laughable reason, streaming a Pokemon emulator. Sure, there's a bunch of like opportunities that may or may not pop up. But, you know, people jumping on stuff, it's like Vine. A lot of people blew up on Vine, and they were able to some people were able to transition that into successful YouTube careers or Twitch careers or both. And like TikTok, well, it was Musically first, and nobody over the age of 15 was on it, and then TikTok came around, and now everyone's on it. And so, like, but it's hard to break out on TikTok because it's such a massive platform, and we've seen similar spaces. YouTube Shorts, what are they called on Snapchat? Whatever they're called on Snapchat. And then you got like Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels and stuff, and it's all the same. So because it's all the same as something that was already out before, it's harder to break out in those spaces. Hover, imagine thinking streamers making content for streamers was a viable business strategy against something like TikTok. I mean, I'm glad that they tried. I'm glad that Hover was something that was an attempt, because who knows, maybe that would have been a thing. But one of the things that that I've come to find out, and I'm saying this also for the sake of any content creators that might ever end up watching this, is that content creators are very focused on themselves, okay? And you can say that it's because we're narcissistic. You can say it's because we are, you know, self-centered or selfish or whatever. And in a lot of cases, you very well might be correct. But the other thing is that this takes a lot of work, okay? Like, in order to do all of this shit, there's a lot of work that goes into it. And so trying to, especially if you are somebody that works a full-time job and is, you know, maintaining family, maintaining friendships, maintaining real-life friendships, if you have a kid, like, if you're doing all of that and also trying to maintain a space in content creation, whether it's on Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, or otherwise, looking for another thing to add to that is wildly difficult because your time is already stretched so thin. So, like, I think one of the things that Hover struggled with is because content creators, in my opinion and from my perspective, from the ones that I've talked to, they go to safe spaces when they're not creating content. They go to people that they can just hang out and chat with, not places where they're looking to discover new content, because that's too close to work. TikTok also has the fact that people get manually heated to go viral. Yeah, that's true. I know that there's been a few campaigns on TikTok that you have a better chance of getting the heated status to go viral if it's your first video. So you'll see people like create a new product, create a new TikTok account for that product because it has a better chance of going viral, because TikTok wants you to think that you can do well on TikTok. So your very first TikTok has a better chance of being a viral success than your second one, because TikTok increases its priority in the algorithm. Because if you get a lot of videos on a lot of views and likes and stuff on your first TikTok, you'll get that dopamine hit and you'll try to create more TikToks that'll go viral. It makes sense, but I hate it. I almost got big on Hover, guys. I just needed more gravity. That's a terrible joke. How dare you, Tag? I can't believe you would say that. Hang on just a second. I just realized something. I need to do a thing. But anyway, yeah. So with all that said, you know, I understand that it's easy to get discouraged. I've gotten discouraged a lot across my journey, and I have legitimately considered quitting before, because I'm like, man, I just don't know if I'm getting out what I'm putting into this. And sometimes I feel like I am, and sometimes I feel like I'm not. But I also think, well, what would you do if you quit? And I'm like, I don't fucking know, dog. Because as I talked about earlier, I cannot not do some sort of content creation. Whether it's writing, whether it's podcasting, or voice acting, or something. I cannot not create. I would probably implode. And so, like, that's the reason, like, I've been very, very close before. I've been very, very down and been like, man, I don't know, maybe I'll just quit streaming. And then I'm like, no. Because I would just end up wanting to come back for one reason or another. And I was only thinking about it because I was dissatisfied, not because I didn't like it anymore. They literally call their algorithm favoring you gravity. I wish I was making a lame joke. Man, I wish you were too, because that's awful. Hello, Cerulean. I hope you're doing well. It's good to see you. Thank you for the lurk, more or less. So, one of the things to keep in mind when you see all these people quitting is that is opening space, and that as we've seen so many people quit streaming, a lot of those viewers have found new places to go. And I do understand that discovery is difficult. There is no discoverability on Twitch. That's why everyone at all will always tell you you should just try to put content on TikTok or YouTube and then try to bring those people over to your Twitch stream. But even that's not always successful. There was a TikToker that I followed pretty closely for a while that had like 5 million followers on TikTok. Every single video got anywhere between 150 to 1 million views, normally somewhere between 10 to 50,000 likes, if not more. They did a hard and heavy push for Twitch because there's not much money to be made on TikTok, like at all. Just as a heads up, like if you think that people that have 1 million followers on TikTok are rolling in money, they are not. They are probably making dirt nothing off of their TikTok videos. And so they were like, I really would like to make content creation my job. I need to make more money. And so they turned to Twitch, and their Twitch capped out at like 27 viewers. And they were pushing and pushing and pushing to try and get people onto their Twitch, and they just couldn't because like it was different audiences. So, I mean, you know, I'm not saying don't make TikToks. Maybe do. I mean, I want to make TikToks, and I'm pretty sure I'd find a lot of satisfaction out of making TikToks because, well, engagement is the thing that is the biggest payoff for me. I enjoy getting comments, interacting with those comments. I enjoy active people in chat that I am engaging with. I feel like my Twitch streams are immensely better if I have even 1 or 2 people that are just active in chat. It's one of the reasons, Eve, that I appreciate you a lot. I appreciate you a lot, Cerulean. I appreciate everyone in here. Napalm, Tag, Athena, Fee. Like, anytime I am being engaged, I feel like my content is better because it makes who I am shine out more in a way that is more entertaining to watch rather than me just trying to fill the content myself. The audience disparity is so wide. Plus, you can make content on your toilet. Okay, Napalm, just because you make content on your toilet, I will not be doing that. So, if you are somebody who is thinking about quitting, I want you to ask yourself the questions that I've already asked through here. Is why did you start? What did you want to see out of it? What did you hope to get out versus what you were putting in? Where were you hoping to get to? And you know, what were you not getting out of it that is making you feel like it isn't there for you? If it's a time thing, I totally understand, because boy howdy does this take a lot of time. And so there's so many things that I still want to do. We're going to be starting up the Schwahn dive soon. I have the plan laid out for those. I got the drum stream about 50% of the way there. I'm hoping to do the first one of those next month. I want to start doing more active work on my writing and figure out how I'm going to approach that in a way that is accessible on the internet. But all that takes time, and like, where do I slot that into everything? So nobody has to know. Just set a green screen behind the toilet. Yeah, just drape it over the toilet and just cut a hole in the middle, and you don't even have to pause. You can just be like, yeah, we're good, man. Just don't hold the camera too low. Or, you know, if you've got a big enough stomach, go ahead and hold it nice and low. They won't be able to see anything anyway. Don't do this. This is terrible advice. Absolutely do not. Anyway, so with everyone that is quitting, I hope that you find the happiness that you were unable to find through content creation. And if you do ever come back, I hope that you are able to find the happiness that you weren't able to find the first time. Because one of the things that I want is for people to be happy. By whatever means that means. As long as your happiness doesn't come at the harm or the ending of happiness of others, I hope that you are able to find your happiness. So, yeah. With that, I'm going to go make some more content. Because that is what I want to do. And while it does not always make me as happy as I would like it to be, while I don't always get as much out of it as I would want, while I have thought about quitting, I don't actually have any intentions of quitting. Will my content change? Absolutely. I'm still a small creator and I do not rely on this for paying my bills. And so I am not beholden to the content that pays the bills, which is why my content has changed. About every 6 months to a year, I'm like, let's try something different. Let's try this. I want to do this. I want to do this now. And so I am thankful in that I am in a space where I can just experiment and explore. And if you see content creators quitting, support them in that. Don't be like, no, because like that makes them feel like shit. They already feel bad. I've never met a content creator that quit for any reason that was like, fuck yeah, I'm quitting, bitch. They've all been like, man, there's going to be things about this I miss. There's going to be some things that I don't, you know, shitty ass toxic people. But I've not ever seen a I'm quitting streaming message not have a bittersweetness to it. I'm doing this for me, or I'm doing this for these reasons. And while there are positives in it, there are also negatives in it as well. So do not beg someone not to quit because they already probably feel rough about it. And you being like, no, you were my favorite, that can make them feel good, but it can also make them feel worse, because a lot of creators, we do things for the people that do enjoy our content when you get to that point. Because and to people that are just starting out, that are streaming to the 0 to 1 people, I understand how rough that can be, but just keep trying. If it's something that you want, keep going, okay? Yeah. I got nothing else. But what I do have is that I appreciate all of you very, very much. This did go up on YouTube, so if you're somebody that watched it on YouTube and watched all the way to this point, we rambled, we got on tangents a lot. Like I said, I like to talk, and I was very happy to engage with people in chat. So thank you so much, everybody, to watching this. Thank you to everyone that's in chat right now on our Twitch stream that was talking about this. I appreciate all of you immensely. And if you do go watch one of the videos on the channel, or if I see you in the live stream, thank you and enjoy.